Say goodbye to your burger. Billionaire climate crusader Bill Gates says we need to ditch beef to fight global warming. Quote, he said, "I do think all rich countries should move to 100% synthetic beef. You can get used to the taste difference, and the claim is they're going to make it taste even better over time." But there might be a big conflict of interest here. Gates reportedly has invested in plant-based Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat. So, Dana, people who warned they were coming after our cheeseburgers and our steaks were made fun of and called conspiracy theorists, and here we are.
Yeah. Well, look, if he wants to put his money where his mouth is and support that industry, you know, go for it. Maybe that it will work for some people, but his whole book is about his concern about an existential crisis from climate change. It's one of the reasons he's talking about this beef issue. Do you remember when AOC put out the Green New Deal and it said that they were going to do the very same thing, and it was mocked relentlessly, and then they said, well, it was just a draft. It was never actually in the bill. Like, no, this is what they believe. This is the plan. This is what they're going to do. I just think that as we head into the fourth night of people in Texas, millions of them freezing, having to figure out a way to boil water because the water isn't safe, but they don't have any power in which to boil the water, and a lot of them are also raising cattle. It is a complete tragedy, and Mr. Gates, he is self-admittedly a little socially awkward, needs to learn how to read the room a little bit better.
Greg, you're an avid meat eater. Are you going to eat fake meat?
I'm definitely up for trying because I do have moral issues with eating meat. Basically, we are eating earthlings. So that fact is based on a hierarchy, right? We are on top and we eat everything on bottom. If you're good with that, which I am, fine. But then you have to eliminate the idea of sentience, that these animals are conscious beings, and possibly it could happen to you. In, let's say, in 1,000,000 years, some other being could come out of the earth and have an IQ of 1,000 and decide that we're going to be their fuel, and then we become animals to them. So I do think about it. Probably too much, but I am having a steak tonight, so that makes me an incredible hypocrite.
And what did you have last night?
Well, the robots
chicken.
are going to eat us first. They'll be here before we know it.
Yes.
Right, that's what Greg tells me. You know, I mean, I think Bill Gates is a smart, rich guy, but he's not the president, and he's not a governor. He's a private citizen, and I don't think any state government, and I don't think the federal government has any interest in taking away anybody's burger or steak. You know, I think that there's just big concern about climate change. You look at what's going on down in Texas, you know, like a once-in-a-century kind of climate catastrophe down there with the freeze. And I think you understand why people are talking in the Biden administration about a climate change proposal in Congress. But it really is about, from their perspective, change, necessary change, job-producing change in terms of doing things like infrastructure, broadband, building highways that can cope with the coming of electric cars, doing more in terms of our structure to deal with energy and improve our electric grids, again, to help Texas.
Jesse.
Well, just because you're rich doesn't mean you're right. History is filled with very wealthy men with horrible ideas trying to help the masses. Just because he has an expertise in one area doesn't transfer that to another area. Getting rid of fossil fuels and meat, those are dangerous, radical ideas, and he should be called out for that, just like anybody that doesn't have that kind of money.
He's also a hypocrite, which we don't have time to talk about. But up next,